The cell was never silent. Humming with electromagnetic containment fields, punctuated by the distant thrum of the alien facility's artificial core, it created a constant rhythm Seraphina Kline couldn't ignore. Even in sleep, what little she managed, her body was alert, braced for the ever-present possibility of interrogation, humiliation, or worse. They called her a Deathworlder, as if being human was a curse. To the Galactic Union, it might as well have been. She sat on the cold alloy floor, back straight, staring at the wall. Not in defiance, not in despair, just focus. It kept her mind from dulling. Kept her sharp. The door hissed open. A silhouette blocked the light. Broad-shouldered, armored in synthetic carapace that shimmered faintly blue under the corridor lighting. Not one of the torturers. Not one of the medtechs. Different. Kline. On your feet. The voice was filtered, artificial, but the cadence was unmistakably human. She stood slowly, gaze locking with the man's face as he stepped into full view. Mid-30s, sharp jaw, expression taut with urgency. "Who are you?" she asked flatly. "No time. We're getting you out." She didn't move. "Why?" she asked. "Because you're not just a prisoner," he said. "You're a message. And the Union's about to hear it loud and clear." Explosions rocked the outer levels. The lights dimmed, flickered crimson. Sirens blared in multiple alien tongues. Outside, shouts and pulses of energy fire painted the corridor walls in jittering patterns. The man handed her a thin pulse-sheath blade and a compact sidearm. She took them without comment, her body already recalling muscle memory dulled by months of confinement. Her movements were efficient, without hesitation. "Extraction in 3 minutes," the man said, checking a wrist-mounted display. "I'm Captain Drex. Resistance. We've been watching you." Seraphina narrowed her eyes as they moved down the corridor. "You broke into a maximum security Union black site to get me out?" "Not just you," he said. "You're the asset. The others are a distraction." The path twisted through chaos. Union guards, an insectoid species she recognized as Crixa, fell to pulse fire. Explosions opened breach points in the hull. Drex guided her through them with military precision. They passed through a decompression chamber, the outer bulkhead half blown. Vacuum flared around them before the autoseal engaged. From the breach, Seraphina caught a glimpse of the void, space bristling with ships in combat, distant and near. The attackers weren't a ragtag group. This was coordinated. Finally, they reached a launch bay. A sleek corvette waited, wings retracted, engines hot. Drex motioned for her to enter. She hesitated. "You said I'm an asset. What do you want?" Drex looked at her, eyes hard. "The Union's bleeding. Their fleets are stretched thin, command fractured. We need a symbol. Someone they fear. Someone impossible. You survived 6 months in one of their death cells. That already makes you a legend. I'm not interested in being a flag to wave." "Good. We don't need flags. We need commanders." She didn't respond, just boarded the vessel. Inside, alien tech meshed with human mods, controls designed for multi-species use, yet somehow tailored perfectly for her hands. Drex followed, barking orders as the ship lifted off. The stars warped as they jumped. Later, in the ship's command center, Seraphina stood before a wide interface window, arms crossed. "You're quiet," Drex said from behind. "Thinking. We've got a fleet in the Perseid Rim. They need leadership. Union protocols falling apart. Local systems are revolting. You..." "I was rotting in a cage because I didn't surrender Earth's outpost," she said, cutting him off. "And you want me to lead your war?" "You already are," he said. "The moment you stepped aboard." She turned. "What happened to Admiral Corell?" "Dead. Last week. Took 6 ships with him when he went." "And you think a 19-year-old prisoner replaces him?" "No. I think a 19-year-old Deathworlder who refused to break, refused to give them names, refused to die, commands. She looked back out the viewport, jaw tight. Seraphina, Drex said more quietly, this isn't just war anymore. It's change. And you can steer it, or watch it tear us apart. The silence stretched. Then she spoke, calm and certain. What's our first objective? Drex smiled, not out of amusement, but relief. There's a renegade cruiser that defected and took Union weapons codes with it. We intercept in 12 hours. You'll lead the assault. Crew? Multi-species. Some green, some loyalists turned. All watching you. She turned, brushing a hand along the ship's command console. Then let's give them something to follow. As the Corvette sped toward its next mission, Seraphina stood at its heart, not a captive anymore, but a rising storm. The Union had tried to erase her. Now she carried their secrets, their scars, and their fear. And soon, their fleet. The bridge of the Vigilant Requital wasn't designed for humans. Panels hovered mid-air, pulsing with alien glyphs, interfaces adapted from 5 different species, and ceilings that curved upward to accommodate the taller, serpentine crew. Seraphina Kline stood at the center, a small figure by comparison, yet she held the room like gravity. Her first act as commander wasn't dramatic. It was precise. Status report, she said, voice clear. A Ulith technician, a creature of shifting scales and multiple ocular stalks, turned toward her. Drive stability at 93%. Weapons charge completed. We are on course to intercept the rogue cruiser. How long? 17 minutes. She nodded once. Good. The crew had fallen silent when she first stepped aboard. Whispers followed her through the decks. A human? A Deathworlder? The one from Verwan prison? No one said it out loud, but the disbelief hung thick in the air. She felt it in every sideways glance, every slight hesitation in the crew's responses. She didn't care. She didn't need belief. Just obedience, for now. Drex appeared at her side, his usual scowl softened by cautious optimism. They're watching you. I know. And if you fail, they'll find another scapegoat, she said. I'm not here to convince them. I'm here to win. The ship emerged from subspace with a shimmer. Before them, in the dead zone between systems, hung the stolen cruiser Zara's Thorn. Once a proud Union vessel, now painted with scavenger sigils and burn marks. Its shields were still active, weapons powered. This isn't a negotiation, Seraphina said. No, Drex agreed. But most commanders would wait for reinforcements. I'm not most. She turned to the weapons officer, a short, broad-shouldered Maucan whose clawed hands hovered near the controls. Target engine arrays. Disable, don't destroy. We take that ship intact. The Maucan hesitated. They outgun us, Commander. She looked him dead in the eye. Then we don't let them shoot. The bridge moved like a single body now. No wasted motion. No questions. Orders carried weight when they came without doubt. Divert reactor power to forward thrusters, Seraphina said. Open communications. I want them to hear me. A blue hollow bloomed before her, a channel opening to the Zara's Thorn. A grizzled reptilian officer appeared, face twisted in irritation. You've got one chance, Seraphina said. Surrender your codes and stand down. No casualties. The alien spat, literally. A human threatens me? You were a lab rat 6 weeks ago. She smiled coldly. And now I'm the one with guns. Make your decision. He cut the feed. She turned to her helmsman. Execute attack pattern Gamma 12. Come in low, spin the hull, use their blind arc fire when aligned. The Vigilant Requital surged forward. Everything became motion and calculation. Plasma rounds streaked across the void. One clipped the Corvette's wing, sending a shudder through the frame. Seraphina held her footing as her crew adjusted without instruction. Incoming torpedoes, the Ulith warned. Deploy chaff, she snapped. Now. Explosions dotted the space around them, near misses, one close enough to paint the viewport with static. The Zara's Thorn loomed larger, rotating slowly as it tried to adjust. It was slower than expected, sluggish. They're dragging something, Drex said, reading sensors. Seraphina spotted it, a salvage tug fused to the cruiser's stern. A vulnerability. Target that connection point, she said. Right now. 2 clean shots fired. The tug ripped loose, vending gas. The cruiser lost balance, shields dipping for a second. Fire on engines. 3 blasts struck true. The Zara's Thorn spun, lights flickering. Aboard it, emergency beacons flared red. Then, silence. A heartbeat passed. Commander, the comms officer said, they're hailing us. Put them on. The same alien appeared, bleeding from one temple. His pride was cracked, but his voice still burned. We'll cooperate. On one condition. Seraphina didn't blink. No conditions. Transfer the codes. Power down your core. Prepare for boarding. You're no better than them, he hissed. I never said I was. The feed cut. A cheer broke through the bridge, small, reserved, but it spread. One by one, crew members looked at her with something different than before. Not awe. Not fear. Respect. Seraphina let out a slow breath. Maintain position. Deploy boarding teams. Get those codes. As the bridge buzzed with motion again, Drex stepped in close. You just captured a renegade cruiser with half their firepower. You know what that means? Means they'll stop underestimating me. He smirked. You really want that? I want what they don't expect. She walked away from him, heading to her quarters. She needed 10 minutes to herself, 10 minutes to think before the next move. Not victory. Just momentum. Behind her, the vigilant requital held formation, sharp and quiet in the dark. She was no longer a prisoner. She was the sharp edge of something rising. The Union fleet arrived without warning. No grand transmission. No threats. Just the sharp blink of subspace ruptures as 5 warships emerged, perfectly spaced in a combat wedge. Their hulls bore the silver and cobalt insignia of the Galactic Union. Central among them, the Seraph's Gaze, flagship of Admiral Falzar. Seraphina stood at the command dais of the vigilant requital, her jaw set. They're not here to negotiate, Drex said grimly, studying the tactical display. They're here to erase me. The message from Falzar came precisely 30 seconds after arrival, calculated, clinical. This is Admiral Falzar of the Galactic Union. Surrender all captured assets, disband your fleet, and submit for tribunal. Or you will be destroyed. No offer of terms. No diplomacy. A verdict, not a proposal. He means to make an example of you, Drex said, arms crossed. Seraphina didn't respond right away. She studied the screen, 5 ships, heavily armed, outmatching them in raw firepower. She had 3, her corvette, the damaged cruiser Zara's Thorn, and a support frigate still running diagnostics on its targeting array. Communications, she said. Open a private channel to the Thorn. The former rogue captain appeared, bruised and bitter from their last meeting. I need that ship, she said. Fully operational. He laughed once, dry. It won't hold in a full assault. I don't need it to. Just hold long enough to draw their flank. A pause. Then a nod. You're either brilliant or suicidal. She didn't answer. The connection closed. Seraphina turned to her crew. This is not a battle we win by strength. It's one we win by movement. She highlighted points on the star map, a debris field from an old mining outpost and a gravity rift 3 clicks to starboard. We'll divide them. Use the field to scatter their targeting. Pull them into the rift's edge where their formation breaks. And then, asked the Malkin weapons chief. We cut the head off. Thalzar dies. The rest scatter. It was bold. Reckless, even. But no one doubted her now. She'd taken ships. She'd held a crew together. She'd stared down destruction and blinked last. Drex leaned closer. You sure this is the move? No, she said. But it's the only one that shifts the board. The fleet moved. The vigilant requital led, darting toward the debris. The Thorn peeled away, drifting toward the far edge of the rift. The Union followed, predictable in their overconfidence. As expected, Thalzar kept his flagship central, expecting a pincer. He didn't anticipate the dead satellites. The moment the Union entered the debris field, Seraphina gave the order. Detonate the mines. Plasma charges laced inside the derelict satellites went off in a cascading bloom of fire. The nearest Union frigate veered too late, colliding with a fragment of hull the size of a shuttle. Shields collapsed. One engine flared out. Signal Thorn, she said. Now. The cruiser emerged from the shadow of the rift, guns blazing. Its targeting was crude, but deliberate. It hit high, forcing the Union left flank to pull inward. Helm, cut across their line. Target their command ship. The requital spun mid-trajectory, dipping below the bulk of the enemy fleet. Seraphina felt the deck tremble as they broke the lower atmosphere of a dead planetoid. Heat blazed along the shields. Now, she said. All weapons. The combined barrage slammed into the Seraph's gaze like a hammer. The flagship reeled, its aft guns struggling to align. For a split second, its formation wavered. Hit the comms array, she snapped. A pinpoint plasma lance ripped through the flagship's dorsal plate. Sparks flared. The next volley punched deep into the hull. They've lost cohesion. Drex shouted. Seraphina didn't cheer. Stay on them. Suddenly, Thalzar's voice echoed across an open channel, calm, even mocking. You're clever, girl. But this ends now. From below the battlefield, another ship decloaked, a stealth cruiser. A failsafe. It rose fast, banking for the requital. Seraphina had only seconds. Reverse thrusters. Jettison starboard panel. Prepare for collision. Drex snapped his head around. What? She was already moving. The ship spun just as the stealth cruiser fired. A torpedo hit the panel they dropped, detonating off target. The explosion rocked them, but they held. Incoming call from the Seraph's gaze, the comms officer said, blinking in disbelief. Put it through. The feed was cracked with static. Thalzar's face flickered on screen, blood streaked down one side, eyes burning with fury. You have no place in our order, he growled. Maybe it's time your order ended, she said. Your kind doesn't belong in command. Then why are you the one losing? His eyes narrowed. Then the screen went dark. A final energy pulse burst from the requital, ripping through the gaze's weakened shield and detonating its engine core. The explosion lit space in a quiet, blinding sphere. When it cleared, the Union fleet was gone, retreated, scattered, leaderless. Silence returned to the bridge. Then a single voice broke it, the Malkin weapons chief. Commander, permission to cheer? She smiled, just slightly. Granted. A roar went up across the ship. Drex approached her, his face unreadable. You did it. You killed their lion. No, she said, watching the stars. I showed them lions bleed. And now, the Union would have to face what they feared most, not humanity's strength, but its refusal to kneel.